let's forget political lines here a minute. Let's talk about people elected, our representatives, democratically elected, listening as they sit in Parliament, debating stuff that should become law in our country to a baying mob outside. We think of Tobias Ellwood's house being attacked. We think of Just Stop Oil saying we're going to break into people's houses. I'm surprised anybody will want to be a damn MP if this continues, Ivor.
Well, good morning, Jeremy. And just to say, it's been a long time, really, that we've seen these attacks on MPs, and as we know, some have ultimately been murdered. And I think it is time for a proper look at the whole thing. I don't share the views of Harriet Harman. I don't think that's right. I think the House of Commons needs to be the House of Commons, but I do think there is a need for proper security for all 650 MPs. And I can't understand why that should not be the case. We have to have a way of allowing members of Parliament to act properly and do their jobs. And that needs to be brought forward as quickly as possible. And I hope that this £30 million from the government might be a start, but I think there's going to have to be a lot more after the general election coming up soon.
Yeah, Ivor, I just want, can you expand a little bit more? When you say there has to be proper security for our MPs, what in practice does that look like? Is that protection officers, escorting MPs around? We know some MPs do have that level of protection.
Protection at home when they go by the weekends.
What would you be recommending, or what would you be asking for as an MP?
Well, I think absolutely that it should be some form of security when they're out and about, without doubt. If I just say about the home issues and what happened in Bournemouth, I think recently, that is absolutely outrageous. And police forces around the United Kingdom need to make sure they're taking action to stop those kind of things happening around an MP's house. That's completely and utterly off the way, and needs to be dealt with as quickly as possible.
Ivor, can I just bring Fraser in just a sec, mate, if I can? Fraser Myers, great to have you on. Deputy editor from Spike, sorry. When we listen to this, the very fabric of our democracy, right, is that we have elected representatives who, inside the House of Commons, debate stuff. Now, you saw a message from a lady there saying, well, their constituents, they're not happy. I understand that, then vote them out, right?
Yeah.
You cannot have mob rule running our democracy, can you?
No, you can't. You can have protests, you can have pressure, you can apply pressure on your
when they
MP,
cross the line,
absolutely. We need to debate these issues through debate, through speech, through persuasion, not through threats, not through mob rule. I think the thing that worries me most about this is that there is an acknowledgement that there is a threat, but there is an unwillingness among the political class to say what that threat is. You will find it very hard to find an MP who will use the I word, Islamist, in this context. Everyone knows that's what this is about, but no one is willing to say it. How can we even defeat this threat, stand up to it, if we can't say what it is?
Well, listen, let me take you both on to another thing that has dominated the newspapers and the news for the last couple of days, that being the story of Lee Anderson. And I'm going to put to you the point that you've just made, which is I found his language clumsy, wrong. But unless we are honest as a nation and say, in a decent and mature way, we need to have a conversation about some of the things that Lee Anderson raised. As I pointed out yesterday, 10 years ago, if he said the word immigration, he'd have been called a racist. I think the points, some of them, were relevant, the way he said it not.
Yeah, Sadiq Khan is clearly not controlled by Islamists, nor is Keir Starmer. That is ridiculous. But is Islamism having an impact on our politics? Yes, it is. I mean, we saw that with Sir Lindsay Hoyle, literally changing parliamentary procedure because of the threat from Islamists. So clearly we need to be able to have a conversation about that. It isn't racist to have a conversation about that. It's not attacking Muslims at all. On the contrary, actually, many Muslims' lives are being ruined by Islamists. They're the ones being coerced into behaving in certain ways. They're the, particularly women or homosexuals are being oppressed by Islamists, not by Muslims in general.
I'm just surprised that you say that people aren't talking about that. I mean, Suella Braverman at the end of last week wrote a lengthy piece in The Telegraph making exactly some of the points that you're making now. Lee Anderson felt able to say what he did, which I think we've appreciated was definitely wrong. Who do you think's being silent to be able to have that conversation? If anything, people are really having their say.
I think there are people on the Tory right who are having that conversation, and they're having it quite clumsily, and they're saying things that are wrong, and they're getting it wrong as well. But will the Labour Party use the word Islamists? I don't think so. They're much more comfortable talking about Islamophobia than they are about Islamism, which is clearly the bigger problem. I think they think it's racist.